Ronan, is the food put away?
No.
Ronan can help with.
Welcome, everyone.
Put the rice and the carrots in the same
Season
container.
12.
You could put the rice and the carrots in the same container. Sorry about
Rice and carrots. Yeah. Season 12,
He's
episode
putting dinner
20.
away.
What's up?
Yeah, he didn't realize we're recording. What's up?
All good. What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Excited to finish this book, but honestly, ready to kind of wrap this up kind of quick tonight. But last week was the peak of this book. There's a couple good things to hit on tonight, for sure. Don't get me wrong. But this was Wayne's book. That's
this
it.
one is kind of peak. This one is kind of peak.
Oh, yeah. There's that.
Yeah. Well, it's just Ian and I tonight, guys. Chris will not be with us. And he'll be back eventually. He's taking a little mental health break. And sometimes we need those. I know
You got some business to handle?
Yeah.
And we said, handle your business. We got this.
Mm-hmm. We'll wrap it up. Next week, we might be off, take a break between books to see if Chris wants to catch up, or we might do just us again, or Chris might be back. I don't know yet. We're playing it by ear. Chris will be
After
back.
I read the start of the next book, whatever we're doing next, I'll recommend to him whether it's a good one to take off or if he needs to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, let's see. Announcements. We did get a new patron. Hold on. Who was that?
Who'd it be?
Hold on. I have to look at my emails. I don't have these things memorized. Nope. That's I am the right email. Okay. That would be Kevin. Kevin,
this episode is for you.
It is for you.
We might give you the next episode too, only because this one's a little light.
Yeah.
So you get Kevin, you get the end of this book, and I'm gonna say it now. You'll get the beginning of the next book too. You get a double shout out. Mm-hmm. So don't forget to bring it up, Alan.
No. Yeah, I'll try not to remember.
We'll forget. Let's be honest.
No, I'm not gonna remember that. Come on, Ash. Fun times. Let's see. Personal life. What's going on in my world? Renovations are still going on, hence why I'm still in the kitchen. We've been on hold now for over a month because the great city of Newport News is taking. Oh no, they did the inspections, but then we found out that the contractor didn't file for the right inspection for one inspection, so to refile. I don't know. It's bureaucracy at its finest. Yay!
You get the memo about the cover sheet?
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. I know. Let's see, a couple other things. Gearing up for our trip I'm taking. In August, I will be off. I think for 2 weeks in a row. 1 week definitely, because I'll be in San Diego, at a conference. So there's no way I can record because I'll be.
That's Spanish for the whale's vagina.
I know. Or is it German? It's German.
It's German. Even better.
Yeah. So I'll be in Wales, Virginia. And then the next week, I'm at the beach at Outer Banks, which I might be able to record from the Outer Banks, but I'm not 100% sure just because it depends on how many people are coming down to the beach. How many brothers are coming down and how full the house it is. And yeah, all that. There's lots of factors that go there. So I'd say maybe, I don't know. That's not until the third week of August. So we still got like a month away. It's just kind of giving everybody a heads up now. There might be some little bits of hiccups and missed episodes and missed weeks here and there because of summertime. What else is new in my world? Went sailing this weekend. That was fun. We
Alan
won,
actually got me an invite to that one, and I passed it up, but I don't regret it.
And we won. So
I mildly regret it. Only a little bit.
It was blowing stink, and we had like 3-foot swells coming out of the ocean, and it was.
Okay, I 50% regret it. No, no, 40%. I still 60% don't regret it.
It was a good time. We had a good time. So fun time sailing boats, and then I ended up getting a Switch for my kids, so we played Mario Kart all day Sunday, and
No,
yeah,
tell
that's
tell
pretty
him the
much.
story. Tell him the Mario
Oh
Kart
yeah, well,
story.
so my son, 7-year-old, he definitely you know played his sister, my 5-year-old daughter, um, and they were playing for a couple hours, and he was getting pretty confident because he was beating her most of the time, and he started talking smack, and finally I was like, all right, dibs on the next one, and we played the
Showed him how it's done.
best. Yeah, he got smoked, and so the first race I won, he's like, it's not fair. Like he said something like, yeah, the game helps you when you're in last place, so like you can't get first place all the time. And I was like, okay, let's go again. And first place, first place, first place, first. I was like, yeah, nah, dude, I was raised on Mario Kart. Like you can't,
Yeah.
like this is in my blood. I was telling another person, I think I was telling Alondo about that last night, and he was like, "Yeah, but eventually they get older and they will beat you because kids gaming. It's just that day will come.
This
Not
is
when he's
true.
7 though.
Right. My boys smoke me in everything we play. It's humbling.
Yeah, but not yet. Dad still got it.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, that's been my that was my week so far. Can't really think of anything else. Work, more work, lots of work. But here I am. So how about you, Ian? What's going on?
Well, I hung out with we haven't actually had a defining the relationship conversation, but I'm gonna call her my girlfriend for now. But it's still it's interesting. I mean, neither one of us is like dating anybody else. When we got the free time, we hang out together. She's still pretty committed to going back to Brazil in September. But anyway, so this last weekend I hung out at her place. That's why, Saturday couldn't go sailing, but spent the whole day with her, and she didn't want to go out. She had some of her friends there. We cooked, did a big dinner, just jamming to some music. It was a really good time. Stayed the night there. All of her friends are trying to convince her to stay in Virginia now. I think they like me. But anyways, it was
Nice.
just good. And it's kind of like I said, like, without it sounds bad saying like without the commitment, but like neither one of us is planning on anything long term. I don't think either of us
Yeah.
has like ruled it out, but like, I mean, God, if we got to that point, it would be legit. Anyways, so we're not planning for it. And it's just been great being in the moment and having a good time together. And her and her
Aw.
friend are all kind of learning English, so they were practicing on me, and it was hilarious. And then I've learned very little Portuguese. Like I can order a coffee with sugar and milk, and say thank you, just like some basic stuff. And so they were laughing at me too. So it was fun. It was a good time.
Okay.
This weekend coming up,
use Google Translate.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah,
You can,
but then
you can get those like little
practice
ear.
and stuff.
You can get the ear pod things that go like that you can wear that automatically translate stuff in real time.
So I thought about that, but I don't want it to be so easy that I don't try to learn. And she's kind of the same way. So like,
Okay.
even though we'll use the phone to translate it, and it'll translate the text and then also speak it, we'll take a moment and try and say it in the other language as well. And, let each other correct each other on the parts we're off on. So
Okay.
some of the stuff is like really easy. Then some of the stuff, like my mouth just doesn't want to make those sounds. I don't know. It's weird.
Gadoosh.
I'm like, we don't have any example of that in the English language. It's So, but it's been fun, and she is smoking hot.
Yeah.
I know it's not all about that, but there's some other things I'd like to say, but I'm not. It's all great. It's all good. It's great.
Yeah, it's fun.
So yeah.
Good times.
Oh, and then
Good times.
next weekend I'll be crazy busy. It's the champs meet for summer swim. Both of my
Okay.
kids made their champs times. Alan, you're gonna run into this a couple of times with your kids. They're in different age groups, and for the champs meet weekend,
Okay.
one full day is the older group of kids, and the next full day is the younger group of kids. So I got to be there both days, all day, and it's only a matter of
Nice.
time till your kids are swimming, doing summer swim. So you're gonna early
Oh,
on,
yeah.
they'll all be the younger kids' day, but once that older one transitions, those will be long weekends for you, bro.
Yeah. I remember during summer swim, I was just so lazy. I never wanted to go to city meets. So I would like on purpose, like blow the qualifiers.
Tank, which is ridiculous because as far as summer swim times, your backstroke was really good. Like you could have easily qualified backstroke.
Oh,
At least the years I knew
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You're
But
ridiculous.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to in the summertime. I don't want to spend all day in the pool, and I want to go hang out and do other
Yeah,
things.
the championship meets are long meets. So, anyways, we got that coming up. They're excited. The boys this year have actually been really social at the pool, made some friends, have been hanging out with these kids a lot. And this year's unique. So with the older kids, the past few years, when I say older on the team, that's like 12 and up, 13 and up, something like that. They practice in the older group. In previous years, all the girls were really cliquey and hung out and got along, and then so were all the guys, but there was no real crossover. This year, all of them have just been hanging out, going to do stuff, and I don't know. It's been cool watching them, and it's really changed the team dynamics. We have a very small team, but everybody's rooting for each other and cheering each other on, and they made good friends. So it's been cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we have Ipa in chat. Yay! Hi from Finland.
Ipa.
But my parents fly out in 3 days to Finland. So,
Finland doesn't exist.
I know, but they claim they're going to Finland in 3 days. We'll see.
All right. Somebody maybe jokingly said, if I do go for long term, it might actually help to not know Portuguese. I don't know if I said it on here, but all right. Communication is key to every relationship, right? And most people suck at it. And what's funny is, like, even people that speak the very same language, words wise, at least, struggle to communicate. And Alan, I'm not going to like throw you under the bus or anything, but this is any married couple. You've learned in the last few years that as much as you thought you were communicating, you've learned that you and your wife have really, had to make it a point to learn how to talk to one another, right? Like understanding how they see things, right? It takes a years of effort. But here's the cool thing. Like when we're kind of talking, and if she's not understanding or if I'm not understanding, and then we have to use the translator, you pause and you think, okay, like, what am I really trying to say here? Like it forces that moment of reflection to really try and get what you mean in a nutshell and then communicate it. So all the important stuff we communicate really well is what I'm trying to say. And then all the other stuff that generally you say and you're mumbling about that might otherwise piss the other person off when they're like, what'd you say? Hey, you don't translate that part. So shoot. And everything she says, she could be cursing me out sometimes, but it sounds so freaking sexy. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so maybe you meant it as a joke, but there's actually some value in not knowing everything that the other person is saying.
There you go. I'm listen to you half reading chat about hanging people in Finland. So
Oh boy.
It's great commentary.
Hanging out.
Yeah, they're going like my parents. No, like yeah. My parents are doing like a Arctic Circle trip, like 3 weeks north of the Arctic Circle. So they're flying to Helsinki and then they're going up like way up north, and then bouncing off the top of Sweden, Norway, and Finland. And like doing a Arctic Circle like adventure thing. I don't know.
They're going to visit the land of my ancestors. That's where this bad boy comes from.
I thought Slovakia was
Well, that's my mom's side.
Dude.
Dad's side is anywhere Vikings have ever lived or raided. We're part that. And I'll let y'all
Cool.
figure out how that happened.
Yeah, I'm part Latvian. I know that much. Fun.
That explains a lot.
It does.
You could tell because the way it is.
Anyways, it's the way it is. Yeah. So, anyways, you ready to talk about some real time? We can talk about some real time. Let's talk about.
Yeah, let's chit chat.
Okay. So let's read some commentaries, because reading the commentaries is chapter 48. Where we're in Min's point of view. Min's hanging out with Catty Cat Swain.
Screw her.
And she's resenting Cat Swain. Like,
as she should.
Yeah. She's thinking about the prophecy. She's like, I don't think it is what you think it is. And they're kind of arguing about it. Like, he shall hold the blade of light in his hands, and 3 shall be 1. And they're arguing about the interpretation of that.
Yeah. So we've kind of pieced this together. You know, Rand can't do this by himself for so many reasons. But then Collindor, you know, if it's critical to his success, we're finding out here. Definitely, he's got to link up, and with two other folks.
Right.
You know, then you add that to, you know, the collar for the mail and being able to link up that way, and maybe some help with controlling him. Which actually, by the end of this other chapter, now I'm not sure if he needs that. But anyways, yeah, we've danced around it. To the Cadswain part, though, I mean, we're kind of fast forwarding through this a little bit. She's there's the one Aes Sedai that's like, oh my gosh, man, like, oh, you're this expert now because you've read 2 sentences. You think you know more than Aes Sedai. And Cadswain's like, oh, well, tell me what you think. And Min's like, no, it's dumb. She's like, tell me what you think. And she does. And Cadswain goes, well, as a matter of fact, you're right. And the other Aes Sedai is like, ugh. So it's like this really dumb scene. But the whole thing is like, Cadswain knows more than she's been sharing. She knows information. Min even has this moment where she's like, oh, I know something that could help Rand. And that's her first thought. Like, I want to help Rand. And then she has this other thought. She's like, wait a minute. Cadswain has known this. So it's not like new information. But it like there wasn't quite that moment of Min putting together like Cadswain knows this but didn't tell him. Like, I don't know if it's the beginning of suspicion for Min, but we didn't get any like full-on suspicion. I think Cadswain is garbage, hot mess. She's done in my book. I hope Nynaeve is the one who takes her out, honestly. Or like Nynaeve's working her with some weaves, and then Min comes up and shanks her with a dagger. That'd be a cool combo.
Yeah.
So,
you showed everything I was about to talk about, so that was fantastic. Thank you, Ian. That was
I know there's a bunch of little things going on in there, but there's not enough to say about all of it. That's like the gist. I was hoping Min would catch on more.
Yeah, but then the door slams open. Oh, it was the Spanish Inquisition. It was Tam, time travel Tam.
Yeah. Tam travels into the future so he could go way into the past so he can make it back to the present. Yeah. Obviously that happened. Because if you could time travel, why would you go directly to the other room? Like, why not go pet a dinosaur on your way? Because you can, right? Why not?
Apparently, yeah. Is that how time travel works?
That's how I would work.
People that come to time travel never think about the fact that we're moving through space too. So, like, how does that work with time travel? Like, so you go back in time and then you're in the middle of like empty vacuum space because you pop out and the Earth's like thousands
and
of
you have to wait. Right, you got to wait 1,000,000 years for Earth to get to where you're at.
How does that work? I don't know.
Yeah, you get run over by the sun first. Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Did not plan for that. AI is going to figure that out for us, buddy. We don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah. Now we're using AI more and more at work, which is kind of crazy. At the same time, it's hilarious because I use it for really, really dumb stuff, and I do it to be funny at work. because like my boss, he's older than I am. He's really got into AI and like writing memos with it. So like I'll write a memo back to him, but like and use Victorian speak to write Victorian English to write those are some Elizabethan English. Write back the memo. And
You got to remember, every time we ask AI to do something, it's learning about us. So it's logging that, hey, humans like it when we do this. So Alan is jacking up the AI algorithms.
I am so much writing in pirate speak.
Yeah, 5 years from now, there's going to be some other situation, and AIs could go, another financial advisor wants me to send a memo to his boss. Clearly, he wants this in pirate. Because that's what they ask for.
Something like that.
Oh, well.
It's always.
Anyways, Tam is happy.
Tam's really
thrilled.
Thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. Yeah, he comes in ready for some fisticuffs. You know, and Cat Swain talks to Tam like he's a little boy, picks him up in the air. That's much of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first he hits her with, "What the heck have you done to my boy, my sweet little boy?" Like, I've seen this look on men before. Like that, this dude is lost and bloodthirsty and sanguine and all of that. And then he's more directly towards Cat Swain. He's like, "And what kind of fool am I to go in there with some canned eye speech? Like I should have known this was going to be trouble."
Mm-hmm.
And puts it directly on her, and she snatches him up with the air. What I do like, though, I mean, I tell you what, Tam calls her out for being a bully.
Yeah.
I love that. Y'all may not know this about me, but I don't like bullies. I've had to deal with them my whole life. Not a fan. To include at work, I've got myself in trouble plenty of times because there's certain people, I work for the DOD. It's not quite the same as the military, but, between being active duty and now on the DOD civilian side, like I've run into some people that definitely outrank me, way above me, that try to flex, and they're a-holes about it. And I call people out for it. And I've gotten in trouble for it so many times, but I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have respect for your position, but once you're an a-hole with it and trying to twist people's arms just because of the position you hold, like I'm gonna call you out for it.
Yeah. Tam does a good job.
Anyways, I was proud of Tam.
Yeah. He's like, I never like Ice and Die. Just because you're a bully's a bully. It doesn't matter if you're Ice and Die. It doesn't matter who you are. You're a bully.
Yeah. The downside of this interaction was, well, so a little confirmation. Well, one, Tam does say he tried to kill me. And the only interaction we get from Nynaeve here is in defense of Cat Swain and calling out Tam. But remember before, I was talking about all the different possibilities of why Cat Swain's doing what she's doing. She's trying to push Rand over the brink to do something ridiculous, but also in doing so, trying to get these other people that are supporters of Rand on her side to help control him. Right. And it's even though he didn't kill Tam, the fact that he almost did in this interaction here, Nynaeve's instinct is to cling more to Cat Swain and defend her. So like it's Cat Swain's this close to getting what she wants.
Yeah. 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 And Tam tells the whole story that he almost got killed, and then he opened a gateway and left and went somewhere. It looked like some of them were out west. And Min's all through the bonds like he's
Min's like Ebudar.
Crap. He's gonna destroy the sun, Shan Chen. Yeah. And that's how we end the chapter. Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, I would hope early on in the next book, or early on when we get back to the storyline, that Cat Swain gets found out. Okay. But we'll get to that. The way this book ends, though, it's one of those more modern cliffhangers that is like everything just changed. I mean, not a lot changed, but everything just changed. And like you have no idea which direction it's going to go.
You have to make them laugh and cry again. Let's start with cry.
Yeah. If I have to choose, we'll go with Rain.
We both crying.
Yeah, so messed up.
All right. Chapter 49. It's a really short chapter.
No.
But we're gonna go.
I got to correct myself. Sorry. You know who's going to come and kick Cadswain's ass? Moraine. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. That would be way better than Nynaeve and Min taking care of her. Oh, this would be so good. Okay, now I do wish Chris was here because I think he would co-sign on that. I do believe he would co-sign.
While riding on the white unicorn coming in.
Exactly. With Tom. Hell yeah, kisses Tom. Dices up Cadswain. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay. Or will they join?
That's an official prediction.
Good cop, bad cop. Good mentor, bad mentor. No.
I think Moraine is done being buddy with Forsaken.
Okay.
Yeah, this ain't the show. This is the books.
Moraine the White and Rand the White. There can only be one white.
Well, one is more of like a mother of pearl.
Okay.
The other's like an antique white.
Okay.
It's subtle differences. One's in a semi-gloss, the other more in an eggshell.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, more like an eggshell with the texture, the eggshell texture. Like.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. American Psycho. There you go. Chapter 49. Just another man. So Rand walks through into Ebu Dar, thinking how they think that the city's all safe because they can't channel. And outside the city, he sees all the Tuatha honor out there in their campsites. And he walks in with a staff to disguise his height so he can scrunch over and decides to attack. So
yeah, swaps out his cloak. Definitely try to blend in and not be noticed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Takes out the access key and. Yep.
I'll say it's worth noting. He points out that one, the Tuatha, who are normally moving around seeking their song, are kind of settling in, and they have specific roles in this little community here. They're not really traveling around; they're kind of hanging out. He's like, okay, well, that's not really what their whole shtick is, right? Then he's also looking around and thinking about, making plans on how he's going to do this. Which is like, he doesn't want to get caught. So he's going to strike here, then gateway there, then strike here, then gateway there, then strike, and boom, just take them out all over the map. Right? But then he's also looking around and he's like, I was expecting the people here to just be different, but instead, they're content. They want to be here. They're being protected by the Shan Chan. He's like, it's not what he expected at all.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff is bouncing around in his head. Like, I got to do this. I got to do this. And then he's like, oh, but wait a minute. These are innocent people just, trying to seek protection sort of thing. So it's all kind of building up.
But he remembers the golden rule. He remembers the golden rule that.
Yeah. I kind of wish. Well, I don't wish, but it would have been interesting to see, the turn of the wheel where he executed this plan, because it kind of would have been badass. The way he was thinking, he was literally going to be dicing people with balefire in this direction, some fire tornado over here, some this, that, and the other. He had a bajillion different things that was going to go on all at once. I mean, this is going to be massive. So, I mean, kind of glad it didn't happen, but.
Yeah. But he tried to. He starts to embrace sighting and with the access key and everything like that, and starts to get balefire ready. And all of a sudden, he gets a sickness so strong it knocks him to the ground. So, what do you think this sickness is? I mean, do you think it's the pattern trying to force him not to do it, or do you think this is something else, or what do you?
All right, can't answer that without really blending into the rest of this. Where this goes, but I think this comes down to what I've been talking about, that I think the real battle, especially when it comes to lose, is that the battle within for Rand. And is this a chapter at the end where it's like the realization that they are one and the same? They're not two different beings, like
That's
battling each other or something like that. Then in the last chapter. So, I mean, that, gosh, and then there's when he travels in a bit and he's on the disc, and he talks about the yin and the yang, the symbol for the male side and the female side, and there's all these hints and themes throughout these books of equal and opposite reactions. As one power grows on one side, it grows on the other. And I threw out the theory of the Reds going around and just whacking every guy that can channel might have been what caused a very powerful channeler to be born. So instead of having this necessary opposite power exist among many men, because they were whacking them for so long, like it kind of caused this one extremely powerful one to be born. I don't know. My mind, I was driving while I was listening to this, so I was thinking about just that. Like, what is it? What is the sickness? And I went down the rabbit hole of like, what is creation that we live in, and if something, because there is something here. I could touch myself. I see things. There's things that exist, right? If it exists, but it came from nothing, like if there was nothing there and then there was something. When you pulled the something out, it had to create a negative opposite of that. Does that make sense? And so, like, the people that there's the dark matter and antimatter sort of thing, and if you were to combine.
Like when there was nothing, but there's everything, and nothing was here, and everything was here. So therefore, there wasn't even an everything. There was just an every,
but nothing is something if you can point to it and say it's nothing. Then it becomes something just by identifying it as nothing. I don't know. All right. So wait, your question, the sickness.
Is he down with the sickness? Is he down with the sickness?
Yeah. It's from that battle within of like him choosing to do good, choosing to do evil. I don't know. I guess I never really thought of a good answer, but I did ponder that very thing. I mean, it's not the taint. It's not even the channeling itself, I don't think.
Okay.
And unless, I'd be curious to read the first couple of Rand chapters after all of this in the next books. I think we're going to get some enlightenment pretty quick, or at least I hope so. Maybe he determined that it's the channeling itself, both the male and female half, that is the problem. And then he has to find a way to destroy that.
You can embrace drowning pool better than that.
I didn't want to risk going so loud that like my voice cracked, and yeah, I could have squeaked at y'all. Yeah, I guess I don't have a good answer for that question.
The absence of anything is nothing, making it something if only the absence of everything.
Right. If you can define it. If we can conceptualize
down with sickness is, down with sickness is disturbed. Yeah, it's not drowning pool. That's right.
Yeah.
It is disturbed. Wrong band.
Yeah.
Another one of those new metal type bands. Well, actually, it wasn't new metal. What would you consider disturbed? What genre was that? I don't know.
It's an offshoot of metal.
It was, but it's not like straight metal. I don't know.
But there's a lot of there's a lot of genres that shot off of metal.
Yeah, there's
like if you listen to some early interviews of like Chris Cornell and his influences, and it was some classic rock, well, what we would call classic rock, like your Zeppelin and stuff, but definitely the metal scene and the punk scene. And you're like, why did punk come into his? Yeah.
Like
It's
You
crazy.
think of new metal, I think of like Korn, but I don't even know if that's new metal. Like I don't know. Like I don't know how to find anything these days. It's a band.
How would
All right.
how would you classify Smashing Pumpkins? What were they?
I would say grunge.
Ugh. Maybe a little, but they were so unique. And lyrically, gosh, now that I've gotten older, you could go back and read the lyrics to all their songs. And you're gonna be like, holy shit, I was getting down to this. Wow. That's deep.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's so hard to
That's your
define
challenge. That's
grunge
your
punk.
challenge for later.
I-
Don't listen, just read the lyrics.
Yeah.
You're gonna be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. Grunge punk. I don't know. There's so many. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to define bands into categories. That's what I found. It's like we have staple bands that like Nirvana's grunge because that is grunge, and then everything else is.
That's literally how it's defined off of it.
Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Nirvana. It's grunge. There you go. That is grunge.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then like Weezer, where'd you put Weezer in? Pop grunge? Pop.
Not grunge.
Not grunge. Pop. But it's not pop. I don't know. Like, what would you call Weezer? I don't know.
Some dudes making music.
Some dudes making music. Yeah, we're gonna go a long tangent about defining music and genres. Yeah, whatever.
Man.
Doesn't matter. It's yeah.
They were
Just stop
conforming to
categorizing music.
anti-conformity.
Exactly. Yeah. Stop categorizing music. Just listen to what you like. That sounds good, Gramps. That's about right. I like it. Therefore, it is what it is. Humans and categories. Yes.
I wonder if the sickness might have some connection to his stab wound also. And then it makes you think, all right, did Beelzebub, Ballsy, was he one that wanted Rand to be successful, to become Rand the White? Like, was the wound put there intentionally to like discourage him from losing his mind or becoming evil Rand, I guess? Because these flare-ups are when he's using it not for the best purposes, or at least not for the purpose he's supposed to. I don't know. Stupid question, Alan. Move on.
Okay.
What do you think, Alan? Tell me what you think it is.
Stone Temple Pilots. I don't know.
Definitely grunge.
Definitely grunge.
But they're fringe grunge.
But you listen to lyrics, it's a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fringe grunge.
Fringe grunge. All right.
When they were wearing clothes, they had flannel on. When they were wearing clothes.
Yeah. So yeah, Gateway gets inside the gateway, starts skimming. He skims his way, all the way over to Dragon Mount, where he steps out onto the top of the peak. And that's how we end this chapter. Rand's pretty emo though. Yeah, Rand is.
Rand is an emo Rand. Rand is like a barely trying to recover heroin addict right now. He's in rough shape.
He is.
All right. For those of you that have met folks like that, apparently Alan pictured somebody and knows how accurate that statement is. Like they're aware enough to know that they shouldn't. And there's a part of them wants to try not to, but if they end up stopping, it's through dumb luck only, because they have no ability to stop themselves. And it's almost sad, but yeah, that's where Rand is right now.
Sounds right. But then we get to the next chapter. So, Veins of Gold, chapter 50. And yeah.
Is this the one where we just create a really nice sunset? Is that the whole point of this chapter?
Rand sits at the top, at the summit of Dragon Mount. He uses the power to compress the air around him so he can actually breathe, because up there there's really no air, but you actually, makes it so he can make it so. He thinks on Tam's question about why the bother fighting. and he's letting the anger like fuel him, and he's actually standing on this cliff, like on the precipice, like yeah, I think he's. I mean, I would say he's borderline suicidal at this point. I mean, he's pretty much thinking about giving it all up.
That's
Like
on the
he's like, why are
table.
we even?
It's not expressly said,
Yeah,
but it's on the table.
yeah. I mean, he's like, why are we even doing this? Like, why? And he's trying to find a good reason. And him and
And
Luz are.
when we keep repeating the same mistakes, repeating the same cycles, he's focused on
Mhm.
all the negative aspects of the repetitiveness of everything. And it's like an extreme existential. I mean, can you imagine those of you who are old enough who have sat and considered and observed life enough, those of you that have had a minor existential crisis moment, can you imagine having that, but also having like all the cosmic powers of the universe? Like, that's a dangerous combination to be like, what the fuck is it
Yeah.
about? But as you scream, you're like powering up and you could destroy things like that. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
pretty wicked.
It is. Yeah. And yeah, he remembers the day he died as Luz Theron. And thinks about dying again. And Luz's voice starts to ask, why are people born again? And he kind of goes through a few different possible scenarios here and kind of talks about it with Luz in his head and with himself. And he remembers all his past lives at this point, thousands of times. He remembers it all.
It's like flooding in.
All of his lives. Yeah, all combining into one. And then comes up with the epiphany. The reason
first
why
he
we
thinks
live again.
First, he thinks, kind of from his / Lou's perspective, that if everybody lives again, that Eliana may also live again.
Live again.
And she's not gone. And so, like, the Lou's part of him has a little bit of that epiphany, but then, sorry, Alan, the line, you got to give it. Because this was...
the line. Yeah. Perhaps the second chance and to love again. We live again to love again. Such a good line.
That's a really good line.
And thinks about through all the bad times, there's still there's still those moments in life. No matter how hard your life is, you still have those little glimmers of love and happiness throughout your life, and cling to those. I mean, some people have more than others, but that's
yeah.
All this.
Well, and a good example. I mean, if you're not careful and if you're not intentional, I should say, about looking for the good things and finding ways to be grateful, it's very easy, especially with everything around us, the way news agencies are, the way the news is
the deepest.
It's so easy to see the negative and complain. I mean, there's so much to complain about if that's all you want to look for and all you see. It's everywhere. You go down that slippery slope.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Some Beatles.
No, but it's true though. You gotta sprinkle that in there. I told y'all about my epiphany when I knew for certain I was done with the Army. In my last unit, it wasn't necessarily the back thing, like, although that kind of helped put the nail in the coffin. In my last unit, they took us in a tour of the new Army Museum up by Fort Belvoir, and war museums, history museums in general, but specifically on war and U.S. war stuff has always fascinated me. And I used to always love going to those, but I found myself like severely depressed going through that because I had done my active duty time in a couple of combat tours, and I'd also worked as a civil servant in contracting and acquisition and everything. And I remember going through, the way I have it set up is every single skirmish, battle, war, whatever that the U.S. Army had been a part of, and they even included some pre-revolutionary stuff. They had examples of the clothing and the weapons and this, that, and the other, and they had it for every single thing. And then you just go through it like a timeline to modern warfare. And I couldn't help but look at, just in U.S. history, and we're one of the youngest countries, just in U.S. history, how much time, money, energy, man hours, like how much has been dedicated to the destruction of other human beings. And it wasn't so much like Rand's realization of this constant cycle, but like I guess that was part of it too. It's like they make the first one seem so happy. Oh, we fought this battle and we won. Yay. But then you take a step to the right and it's like just to get into this other battle with this other group of people, but we won. Yay. Just to get into this other skirmish. Yay. And then, oh, these guys are on the other side of the world and, you know, they didn't even want anything to do with us, but we were like, fuck it, we're going to fight them too. Yay. And it's just on and on and on and on. And it, you know, got to the last one, you know, the global war on terror and anyways, which is crazy because I'm also not a pacifist. I'm not like, oh, let's, you know, hug it out all the time because I understand human nature and like I truly believe you're not going to find heaven on earth. Like it's not going to happen. There's going to be conflict. So you can't just sit there and take it or watch the people you love and care about take it. Like you got to try and take a stand somewhere. But also, it all seems so futile. I don't know, man. Anyways, in that moment, I realized I was thinking too much to be enlisted in the army. And I was done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel Rand in this moment of what the fuck.
Yeah, because love is a mini Splendor thing. Love lifts us up where we belong. Thought E would break into song and dance. I was wrong.
Yeah. This is the outcome of this is like a happy moment and happy realization. Like it's okay. Even though it's happy, it's still like there's a somberness to it in what his realization is. And we don't even know like the full outcome. We'll get that in future books, obviously. But
sure.
It's kind of hard to rejoice here. If that makes sense.
But in realizing that, you know, it is worth fighting the Dark One, that love's worth fighting for, he ends up drawing in more and more of the power, ends up crushing the Chosen Call. You know, millions or not millions, but thousands of miles away or whatever it is, and destroys it. And this final thought was that, you know, Lews Therin will probably never hear that voice ever again. And then just starts to laugh. And the clouds break and the sun shines down.
Yeah.
A real laugh.
They're probably not the one Cadsuane was hoping for. I think she wanted an evil cackle as he destroyed cities. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, you know, and Egwene, jumping ahead again, Egwene marks this as, all right, I don't know what's going on here, but put this in the calendar because some real shit just happened. And we're eventually going to find out what it is. So we as the reader don't know. This is a huge transition moment for Rand.
Good quote, Wada Halakasi, for they were not two men and they never had been.
Yeah. But also, so they're not two men and never have been, but also lose that period of life that he experienced through Lews was finally put to rest, if you will. Like if you consider him like a ghost that's like stuck and still haunting because, you know, he's got unfinished business and it's constantly like, oh my gosh, Ileana, da 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 da. Like that's what we've always heard we're freaking out about. Like this epiphany moment put that to ease. So it's not like he killed that off. It's not like he buried it like us, never coming back. He felt through it and thought through it and came to a conclusion that satisfied that part of him that was struggling for many lifetimes.
Yeah.
So not silenced in a bad way, not exiled, but, you know, given some amount of peace, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Or maybe getting that voice, also giving that voice some purpose, you know, to help Rand along the way and not fight him anymore. You know, he'd want to see Rand to be victorious as well.
Yeah.
But what is Rand going to do? So he destroyed this big, is it an Ongriel, Sangreal? Which one is it?
Sangreal. Sangreal.
Yeah, so powerful. So he destroys that, but like, where does that end?
Mm-hmm.
Do they try to offer him Kalendor and be like, you have to use this to win, and him go, no, and he touches it and Kalendor explodes? Is he like the Neo that realizes, he doesn't need to be in the Matrix to use the power anymore? That he's, above all that? Could be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Maybe the thing that we thought was all powerful that really set certain people apart, the ability for men to channel and women to channel, and the White Tower claiming that they're the source of control and power and all things good, and it's up to them to keep things right in the world by using their ability to channel. I mean, it's just all a smokescreen, and the channeling is the problem. And so maybe Rand's quest now is to destroy that, and that they all just live as like normal, simple people.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
But maybe instead of Rand the White, it's just Neo.
Just Neo. That's interesting. I like that. So you ready for the epilogue? Bathed in light.
Yeah.
All right. So we're with Egwene. We're back at the tower. She's glad that Sylviana is being an effective keeper. And seems that she's accepted by the Reds as well. Although Ramonda and Lelaine are still kind of troubling her a little bit because they're arguing what to do about the capture of Damani, and they're being kind of Anyway, she also takes like a catalog. I guess there are 60 Black Aja that escaped the tower.
All the strong ones.
Yep. And they captured 3 that were not on Farron's list, but she was also like, good job, Farron. Like, only 3? Like, good lord, you were thorough. And there's been 24 Aes Sedai that were captured by the Shan-Chen raid. And, Egwene talks about that a little bit. Like,
She's still trying to figure out the Forsaken bit. Which is tough because it's like, okay, maybe the Forsaken got scooped up by the Shan-Chen. She's like, well, that's not likely. They probably knew about the attack anyways. And then she talks about like apparently there's 3 that they know of but are unaccounted for or haven't been tested or something like that.
Right, but they're all weak in the power. And they've been in the tower for years. So like she's like, I don't think it could be any of them.
But then her final thought is something I threw out a while ago. Clearly, the Forsaken, you can assume it's through the Forsaken, but the Black Aja had the ability somehow originally to get around the oaths. Now, maybe it was just done with the oath rod or whatever, but you got to think that the Forsaken, or at least some of them or one of them, have the ability or something more powerful than the oath rod, that can circumvent it. And so she's trying to figure that out, which puts everybody back on the table, by the way.
Yeah.
It could be anybody.
Could be anyone. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what after concluding that they could have some kind of way around the oath rod. Sylviana then takes her to the hall, and she sees the window. They fitted it, with
the rose stained glass or whatever.
Stained glass or whatever. Also as a reminder that they'll never let this happen again. And they're like, come look at this. And she looks through and sees the clouds breaking over Dragonmount. But although she can't see Rand from where they are, she thinks it's a good sign of things to come.
Yeah. Well, makes it a point that what's happening and the way the clouds are formed, it's like too perfect to be natural, and tells her to, mark this on the calendar. We don't know what it is yet, but this is something big. A big change just happened. It was kind of neat. Right when it was over, I called Alan, and I'll say it again. This final episode of the book it's not the peak, even though Alan tried to allude to that. But the highlight of this book, the apex of this book, was our last episode, and it was Egwene, really. We're going to find out in future books what this transition in Rand actually means, but we're kind of left on a cliffhanger. We know something big happened, but we don't know what is that going to translate to? Like, what's changed? A lot, yes, but we don't know. Mm-hmm. But I also pointed out, you know, you get a group of people together in the most craptastic of situations, and you always got one, and this was me. I tell you what, I watched some things get blown up like front row tickets and just absolute destruction. And as the dust settles, I'm the one to be like, "Oh, guys, look, a rainbow." And then everybody goes, "Ooh, yeah, a rainbow." And like, we totally forgot that we just leveled like all these buildings. And there are most definitely people inside. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, that part made me giggle. I guess it just made me think of some of my own stupid memories, or like even not just like combat related, just some of the shitty stuff I went through in the field and in training. And like, there's, always some glimmer of hope type moment or something cool that comes out of it that you can bond around. It could be a cool sunrise or sunset, or like I said, definitely picked out a rainbow after blowing up some buildings. And yeah, I can see myself doing that. It's funny. All the novices found it first. They're like, everything got destroyed. People are dying. We don't know where half our sisters are. It's really bad. Ooh, look at the sunset. Like that would be me. So I don't know.
It is till you. We hit a bridge. Who wants a beer?
Yeah, that's the first thing I said. Everybody's like, what do we do now? And everybody's looking at me. Everybody else is looking at me like truly wondering what we should do. Alan's looking at me like, you idiot. But my first thought was, all right, well, the beer is still cold, but by tomorrow the ice will melt and it won't be. So let's drink the beer. And everybody, including Alan, goes, no, that checks out. That's the only thing to do right now. That makes sense.
I remember I let a bunch of college kids borrow my sailboat. I had that Catalina 27. They're sailing out Deep Creek, and they call me up like half an hour later, and they're freaking out. They're like, we ran aground. We're hard aground. We can't get off. And like, I immediately pulled my computer up, look at the tide chart, and then realized it was low tide. And like, they're freaking out. I was like, all right, do you got a cooler with you? And they're like, yeah, why? Do we throw it overboard? No. Just got done. How much beer's in the cooler? They're like, it's full. We just started sailing. I'm like, okay, go ahead and throw the anchor off so you don't get more on harder on the hard, more up on the on the hard. And they're like, okay, now what do we do? It's like, open the cooler up, have fun. They're like, what? I was like, start drinking. The tide will come in, you'll float right off. Like, have fun.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta take stock of what's around you and be like, I choose happiness right now.
This is your sailing trip for the day. You're just gonna sit there and drink, have fun. Don't know what else
the cool thing is,
do not waste
when you tell this. Yeah, when you tell this story later on around other sailors, if they're true sailors, they will also have a story like that. And then you'd be like, so I was sailing. I'm not alone.
And at the time I always sunk your boat. When I put the keg on the boat, were you on the boat for that? Where I took a keg onto your boat? I think I took you out without you.
Yeah, I don't think I was there for that. Yeah, it was a miracle that boat didn't sink. We tried to sink that many times.
Yeah, so I was with like Nat Swanson, who became a Marine. But anyway, we got a keg from a party. We stole it from the party, and then we decided to go drunken sailing. So we went down to your boat and took your boat out, and we didn't tie the keg down, and we just put it down below. And then it got really rough in the bay, and then some cargo ships went by and we hit the wakes, and the keg was like slamming up and down. Like I was like, this might punch a hole in the bottom. It's just not good.
I'm surprised you weren't more concerned about foamy beer at that point.
Oh, we were. I was.
Yeah. But after that, we were worried about the boat.
Yeah, we made it back in. That was fine.
That's funny. Yeah, that Pearson, what was that, like a 72, 79? No, 72 was early 70s because it was still
So,
around the fiberglass revolution time. Anyways, that thing was durable. We did all the wrong things to it, and it kept floating and it kept sailing. We got ripped by a little water spout when we were in Albemarle. I think your brother was on the boat at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We waited too long to drop the sails. It got tore up.
Yep. No, I was on the boat for that.
Yeah. That was fun.
I was on the boat for that. That was fun. Yeah. Now every sailor underground a few times. It's inevitable. I mean, they used this in Wisconsin. The battleship, it ran aground coming into Norfolk Harbor after the Korean War. It was on the hard for like a week because they couldn't figure out how to get it off, and people were just making fun of the Navy to the point where like the Coast Guard had to shut down Channel 16 to get people to stop getting on there making fun of the Navy. Like it was that bad.
I mean, you would think a warship, would maneuver a little better, but the truth is, especially around us in Hampton Roads, the Chesapeake Bay area, it's so shoaly and everything's shifting all the time. You're gonna hit it.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Anyways, that's how we end this book. Little sunshine and the book's over.
When Chris said he wasn't able to make it tonight, my first thought was like, no big deal. But this is this is the moment I wish he was here, and we can always ask him at the beginning of the next book. But like the where do you think we're going now thing? I think this is the biggest cliffhanger of them all that we've had out of all the books. And it's not like a dun dun dun. It's not like somebody just died, or we don't even know for certain about Cad Swain. But this transition in Rand, and him destroying, that the Sangreal. I don't know. It just so many possibilities are opened up. I wasn't joking about the Neo thing. Like, it could very much go that route.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the medallion that Matt has, but some female channelers go channel at him, and he's gonna go no, and it just fizzle away. That'd be awesome. Maybe this whole giant battle that we thought would happen in the Black Tower is not going to happen. Rand's just going to pop over there, and Taim's going to be like, oh, now we're going to battle. And Rand's just going to go, no. And Taim just disappears in a mist. And everybody he had under mind control, although Ashman are going to be like, wait, what? Huh? Where am I?
Waterholic just posted the final quote from the book, which was good. At the end, at the end of time, when the many became one, the last storm shall gather its angry wind to destroy the land already dying. And at the cinder, a blind man shall stand upon his own grave. There he shall see again and weep for what has been wrought. One of the prophecies of the dragon. Yeah. Yep. I see, said the blind man. Anyway, favorite character.
Who is that wife? Not Cad Swain.
Oh, that's what I was going to pick.
You would. But you're cheering for her to still win. Gosh. If I ranked it off of where I got the most emotional, that's kind of how things have been happening in the good chapters for me. It's kind of a tie between Tam and Rand. So maybe it's the bond itself between the two. In the end, I think the interaction with Tam, really, really did help get Rand to this point, this conclusion. Yeah, but Rand on the mountain and battling that, going through that existential crisis we talked about, and what's it all for? And the realization is, we live again to love again. And just that simple mind shift of, not focusing on all the evil and negative, and yeah. Oh, one thing we skipped. How about the moment when Tam was getting fired up, and then he paused for a moment and was immediately cool and collected, and Min took notice of it and was like, wow, I've seen Rand do that a bunch. Interesting. And, it was probably Tam practicing what he taught Rand about, finding the void in the flame and finding a way to recenter and focus himself and not let the emotions, overpower him. And anyways, I thought that was neat. Totally unrelated to favorite character, but made me think of that.
Okay. You and Matt Hatch from the Dusty Wheel hates Cat Swain.
Cat Swain is dubious. Even if she turns out to not be Forsaken, which I don't know how that's the case. She is a shit friend. Like, you can't even say she's a shit friend. She's outside of friend category. She's garbage. Like, I want Moraine to come back, and let's say she's not Forsaken and she's not a dark friend. I want Moraine to come back and at least slap the shit out of her. And do everything Tam wanted to but couldn't. One, because Cat Swain is female, but also because she could channel. Like, Cat Swain needs to be backhanded.
Yeah.
At a minimum.
She's probably at least a 3-second.
A 3-second. If she's not Forsaken, she's at least 3. She's a fistful of Saken. Cat Swain is fist-saken.
Well, next time, whenever we decide to record, we'll be just doing the prologue. That's all we're doing. It's a long prologue. Towers of Midnight. That's a good question. Like minutes?
I don't think I have it downloaded yet. Yeah, minutes. I can tell you if you got that.
I can tell you how many words.
Words are word.
Words what? Words are work. 15,912 words.
Dang.
Well, I mean, so like the last episode we did was 15,487 words. So it's a little bit longer than not this episode, but the last episode I was reading. So, like, that's spreadsheets come in handy when I have word counts.
Yep. When in doubt,
Yep. But I can tell you all our episodes, the word counts in all episodes. This episode is only 9,000 words, so it's a little shorter.
Yeah.
But it was. Anyways, yep. Anything final thoughts before we?
How
I guess the name of the prologue's Distinctions. If you want to make any theories about that,
at least it's not choices.
Choices.
Although it'd be cool if it was choices after this Rand transition. I think that would have been a cooler chapter title.
I don't know.
I think we're done with choices.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go back.
While you're searching, let me ask my question. I know it's just you, but maybe chat folks can chime in. There's been many books that when they finished, Chris and I would be like, gosh, and imagine as a reader having to wait, like with the type of, not just because, you like the series and you're waiting for the next book, but sometimes there's cliffhanger endings or like big dramatic endings and you're like, oh my gosh, the next book. But this one doesn't really feel that way. Like, it's a satisfying ending. Like, I'm certainly curious to see where this new Rand is going, but I'm not really freaking out. So is that just because I know tomorrow I could get into the next book? Or like, was this a fairly soft landing for an otherwise dramatic finishing of the series for people that were waiting for it to come out? I mean, what did you think, Alan?
I think people really, so there's in chat, they had a really good point. Like, people either love the Rand arc in this book or the Egwene arc. I mean, people like both, but some people really love the Rand arc in this book. So I think it was satisfying for people that are really getting into Rand. It's interesting because every time you reread the series, I mean, I've read it. This is 4 times now. This is my 4th time going through it. And each time there's different characters that stick out more, like on who I root for and who I like throughout the series. So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway,
so as far as the ending goes, like, yeah.
I know it's not like feel good. You know, there's more to come, but like, I don't know. It's very satisfying.
Yeah. Darthrin ends. Zenran has arrived. Yeah, it's a good way to put it, DK Main.
Yeah, I've heard people throw that term Zen Rand around before. And yeah, that definitely came to mind at the end of this.
Yeah.
Curious to see what he's like. People are going to
Chris
say,
is going
you know, they're
to
going to run into him.
What was it? Someone said Ian and Chris are going to love the first point of view in the prologue of the next book.
Oh, boy. If it's Catswain.
Yeah, it's like Catswain.
Remember when I called you, Alan, when we were talking about the Zen Rand thing? I was like, it's going to be like when Gandalf comes back. Someone's going to call him by his name, be like, Rand, it's you. Where have you been? He's going to be like, oh, Rand. That's right. Rand. I used to be called by that name. Interesting. I'm Zen
no
Rand.
Longer. I'll have to get a new clip because we won't be able to do the bell clip anymore. It'll be the Shadow Facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
A Shadow Facts one? Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, that is the crossover here. Bella is.
There's a cross. Shadow Facts.
Yep, they're one and the same.
Yeah, storms are coming. Great prologue coming up. Yep. So anyway, we might record next week. It might be the week after, but stay tuned. We'll let you know on Discord or somewhere, or just check the YouTubes. So I might forget to post anywhere and just show up next Tuesday. There'll be something to click on. There won't be. That's all I got for you guys.
Be on the lookout for something at some point. Until next time.
Something until next time. Yeah. So find us, Will Reads. Until then, click the links, like, subscribe. Like Ian said, that's all I got. So
until next time. Peace.
Okay, bye. Thank you for watching The Wheel Reads.
Until next time.
Okay, bye.
Get your Coast Guard certified life-saving device ready and strapped on.
Oh, where are we going tonight?
What kind of strap on you talking about?
Sure.